Hey everyone, I am back with another card and we are doing some Christmas in July card making. I know that I said that I was going to do a lot more this month. Unfortunately, it just got away from me like everything has been. But we do have a few Christmas cards coming up. Then we're going to switch over to Halloween. But let's first talk about the amazing release going on today at Brass and Bliss. You need to head on over there after you watch this card. They have so many good stuff, including this Christmas tree with lights die. I love this. It can be used with just about any stamp set, Christmas stamp set, Halloween stamp sets. I'm going to be using this one a lot, I think. So we're going to be using that and our Christmas bunnies. They're so adorable. Right here, I'm using them. I'm using the one with two today. Again, I think you're going to see this one a lot. They're so adorable. I also seen a lot of the girls using them in this release. So definitely hop over there. We're doing an Instagram hop. So there will be lots of inspiration going on for this release. So when I got to looking at this stamp set and this Christmas tree light set, there are little dies that are like strings in this die set that you can like hang bulbs from, and they had these little Santa bulbs and I was like, oh my gosh, have to use them. I use them in my own decor in my house. I for the last 2 years have had like a Santa theme in my house. Unfortunately, I don't think that I'm going to do it this year, but I love that theme. And so I'm like, yes, that's what we're doing. I'm gonna hang little Santa bulbs from the Christmas trees, and just love it. Just love it. All right, look at those two little guys down there. They're so cute. So unfortunately, I forgot to turn on my camera for the coloring of those Santa bulbs, but I will here show you the colors of my Ohuhu markers. That is what I use, and you can use whatever markers that you have on hand. Of course, you can use colored pencils, all that good stuff. There's the red. Here we go. I'm going to show it. There's the red colors. So R8, R180, and R230. Our G7, and I'm just showing you all of the colors that I'm using, guys. Stop and screenshot those if you need those colors, because I do know that a lot of people are always looking for good color combinations for the Ohuhus. I will also post on my Instagram the color combinations for this also, so be on the lookout for that. All right, so let's get coloring our little bunnies, because I didn't forget to turn on the camera for this one. We're going to start out with our our G390. Sorry, these trees. You could go either way, I think, with these ones. They are meant to like look like there's snow on the tree. But honestly, you could color them really dimensionally with several different greens and just not have snow on the trees. So if you're in an area where there's no snow, you can definitely do it that way. This is a great color combination for me for pine trees. With the Ohuhus, I could probably get one more lighter color in here for a little bit more dimension, but you also have to remember that we were at the tip of our trees, so the more shaded part was going to be up under the tree branches, and I didn't have that in this one. So I think I just went with a two color combination. Yeah, just a two color combination here. All right, so we got that done. We'll come back when that dries to add in the shadows of our snow. And right now we're just filling in our little Christmas bulbs. I did try to keep them in the same sense of like the ones that are hanging from the trees. So those ones are red also. We're using, I think that was our Y1. Yep, Y2. There we go. I was almost right. Our Y2 for our oh, there we go. Our Y1 and Y2. There we go. For our star, I believe I have to bring that back out for the little one here too. He's got a little guy in his hands. There we go. So I did use those. Coloring these little guys is actually a pretty darn easy bunny. I kept my bunnies white. You could do obviously like gray bunnies, brown bunnies, but I did keep them white to try and stick with the color to did not bring in too many colors, I guess I should say. I am bringing in a different type of background. I didn't want to do the traditional like blue skies or night sky. And I brought in, I think you're going to be a little surprised by it, but I think it's different. And I always like to try for different. So, and I think it makes it pop a little bit. All right, so I am just using those same green colors for this little tree down here. Again, you could go a little bit different green if you wanted to bring in a few extra colors. But for this small image, I didn't want to bring in too many colors. I definitely wanted to try and keep it as cohesive as possible. So like I mentioned, Brass and Bliss is having their Christmas release. I think a lot of companies, of course, are having their Christmas releases so that you guys can get them by Christmas. But check them out, guys. Their Christmas release is definitely so cute. Lots of cute stamps and sentiments. I'm telling you, the sentiments that Brass and Bliss have are top notch. I've mentioned that before. They give you so many. I would have to say there was stencils this time, falling snow stencils. I used quite a bit of stencils in my cards this time, so I was pretty excited about that. I always say that stencils are like the key to a quick card. So like I said, check them out. Also, like I already mentioned, check out all the amazing creators that have done. They've spent so much time on their cards, guys. Some of these girls put so many layers into their cards. It's absolutely amazing. All right, so we're just going to put the little pink, since they are white bunnies, we do want them to give them a little bit of color in their ears. And we're almost done here. See, like I told you, these images were pretty quick. We're going to give them some rosy little cheeks. Oh my gosh, I think that just makes them come out so cute. I believe I use R19 for those ones. R19 and R20 are like my go-to cheeks. R19, I believe, is the little bit lighter one when I'm not going to be like coloring over it. So lastly, we are just putting in some gray shadows. White is not always just white when you are coloring. You don't want to just leave it. You want to give, a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth in your white, and do that by adding your gray little shadows. My light source was just coming from above. It was pretty centered. So I'm really using a lot of the artist drawn lines on these to give shadows. As you can see, I was kind of looking there. And these guys have like little pleats in them, so I did that. I also gave him that one on the right a little gray tail. So keeping with the red, green, and kind of theme, we are just going to decorate these presents with that. And I think this one is just going to be an all red one with white. Just be careful, those red markers, like I mentioned in almost all of my videos that are Christmas, you tend to want to do your red at the end because that red is, has a mind of its own. So, and of course, these little itty bitty little stars on this present were a little tough to get around, but I did just go back in with a white gel pen later and like redo it pretty much, and that really does help most of the time when you are when you're working with a red, something like that. Use your white gel pens to the full extent. I did forget the ears to give those shadows, so that's what I was doing there. Again, all of my markers I will go back and put in the description of this video, or like I said, I'm going to make an Instagram post to show you all of the colors. But there we go with Y11. For my gingerbread, I think I just left him at Y11. He's so small, guys. Sometimes, yes, I want to concentrate on details, but when that little gingerbread is like literally not even a half an inch wide, it looked like, I was like, yeah, one color's good. You did see that I forgot my little scarf on that bunny, so a lot of the times, if I can, I do keep my images in my Misty and then do not remove my stamps. so that I can go back over with that VersaFine. It is a little scary sometimes, but if you leave everything right in place, you should be no problem. Obviously, I couldn't do the bulbs because I moved the stamp 5 different times. But a lot of times I do that and just to get that real stark black line pretty much. All right, we're going to use our coordinating dies for this. This stamp set comes with the coordinating dies for your little figures, for your bulbs. This one I actually, it had a regular bulb without the Santa belt, and this one I used that. It really did not cut into the image so that I could cut it twice as fast. So there's a little hack if you're doing many of them, just use both. I mean, it gives you a little bit of a lip, but honestly, you couldn't tell too much. So and then all of the sentiments had a coordinating dies with this one. And guys, their dies cut so close. I love them. Look at, they barely lose a little white line on them. All right, so we're going to get those all cut out, but let's get to the fun part, our ink blending. So this is where I said I used a little bit different color combination for this. I did use Posy and Scarlet. In our color fuse, I am using my color or my ink dabbers. There we go. I couldn't get that out. My ink dabbers, and I love these for getting down a lot of ink fast. And honestly, when you have good inks, you don't have to worry about getting that perfect blend, because once you let the paper dry, and I always say like the colors meld together, you don't need that perfect blend. Honestly, a lot of this also was going to be covered up by my images. So you do see me going back and forth over that a couple of times. You're going to see me come back one time too, because I missed like the corner. But I think this is easy to get a lot of ink down on paper pretty darn quick. So, and I mean, I was only using, little ink cubes. So I thought that was pretty impressive. All right, so we got that done. Like I said, this turned out a little bit, I would say that this turned out on camera a little bit red-ish, but it is definitely pink and purple. All right, so our next step, sorry for the shaky camera, I must have been hitting it. Did not mean to do that. So our next step is finally going to be, oh, I did forget this. So in the background, I definitely wanted it to look like fall or snow falling and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to spray a little bit of our water right here. These inks do react with water. I would say they probably don't react as much with water as like Distress Oxides, but they do react with water. And then we are going to get out our white acrylic paint, and I'm going to figure out that it is not wet enough here, so I put in a little bit more. Most of the time I do take my white acrylic paint and put it on my acrylic block and then splatter it with a brush. This is just a water brush on it to my surface in a splatter box, which is just a recycled, product box that I've gotten from some company. All right, now that we have our snow, I did decide that I was going to double up the tree just to make it a little bit more thicker, since I was going to pop this up on some foam tape. So I did go ahead and do that already. Now I am just cutting out some snow hills. There we go. We're going to get our words together here. Some snow hills. I literally most of the time just do this by hand, but a lot of you I know have dies that can do this. So use those dies. Even if you have like wave dies, use those for snow. You can use those a lot. So get crafty with your supplies. I'm always trying to figure out different ways to use my supplies, so that I get more uses out of them, guys. Here we go. There, I knew I had done it. I thought I'd cut it out, but nope. So I just put 2 of those together. You could do 3 and make it even better and more dimensional, but I thought 2 is perfect. I use Hammermill 80-pound cardstock, so that's pretty thick. All right. I am sorry that I was so zoomed in. I don't know why I got so zoomed in, but some of this might be off camera a little bit, but I do bring it back on camera. Here, I'm just trying to figure out, do I want it in front of the trees, behind the trees? How do I want this done? One thing on this card I really wanted was a border all the way around this. and you're going to see me bring this out several times, I was trying to use this border die just to add a little bit more pizzazz to this card. But this tree die is the size of an A2 size card. So that border die was going to definitely cover up a lot of those trees. And that's not what I was going for. I didn't want to cover up the trees. So I ended up having to X that idea. Next thing you always kind of want to do with your snow hills is use your ink, like the last of the ink on your dauber or your brushes, and just hit the edges lightly, so that it creates definition. It creates depth to your hills, and not everything is just blending together. Again, like I said, right here is where I was kind of off screen a little bit, but I will bring it back on. All right, so I'm just getting those all glued down. I do end up going behind the trees because I wanted it to look like you were looking into the forest, pretty much is what I had come to the conclusion of. Again, you can do it however way that you would like to do it. I just didn't want to cover up my trees. Again, I love the detail that die gives you in your trees. So all right, now I'm just trying to figure out the placement of my little bunnies. They're just so adorable. Too adorable. And then I pulled out this Christmas, Merry Christmas stamp set. You guys, it has like Merry Christmas written in any font. Fun fonts, scripty fonts, regular fonts. So many fonts that if you can't find a Merry Christmas on that stamp set, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just don't know what to tell you. That's why I picked that one up, because I knew that one is gonna it's great for inside the card, outside the cards. It's literally one of my most used stamp sets that I use during Christmas cards, from Brass and Bliss, I tell you. We are going to do a little bit of heat embossing for this. I thought silver would be perfect and keep that glittery Christmas feeling. I tell you, I don't know why I don't heat emboss and more throughout the year, but I tell you, when a Christmas card, I don't know if that's the same with you. Let me know in the comments below. Do you find yourself heat embossing like 3 times more when you come to like Christmas decor and Christmas related projects? Pretty sure I do. That heat gun never goes off when I'm working with my Christmas supplies, I swear to gosh. All right, like I mentioned before, I wanted to create a little bit of depth between my background and these trees. So I popped everything up on foam. You can see I have that big old foam roll of foam. It's the greatest thing ever. All right, this tree die set comes with the string of lights to string your little lights on. Now, I didn't put the little itty bitty lights on. That's not what I was doing here. But you're going to see, I'm going to peel this off because originally I used black. I know it's kind of hard to see what color it is. I think I used black. I was going to say, did I edit out the black one? But no, I ended up using the black one. I didn't like it in the end, so you're going to see me peel it off. It was a little concerning to peel off, but I knew I was putting another piece right back on, so I knew I would be able to cover up anything that got like torn or whatever. So I don't know. I thought I would use, I don't know why I used black, but I did. I probably should have used white. But right here, I was like, oh God, that's a little stark. But I was like, well, we're going to stick with it here. So we're going to put our bunnies on. And I wanted them in front of one and in a back of another. So you're definitely going to see me fidgeting with this a little bit. It does take a little bit of maneuvering to get it right in a good place and to get the foam tape where I wanted it and the glue where I needed it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and not to be all lopsided and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that. But as you can see in that little corner right there, I didn't go far enough down on my ink. So I'm just going to come in with my dauber. I thought maybe there would be enough on the dauber, but there was not. So we're going to bring out that darkest shade because I want the darkest on the bottom. And just redo that real quick. it didn't need to be perfect. It was literally like the bottom little teeny kind of corner, but we couldn't let that in. So there we go. Easy peasy. I think my darkest was nectar, my middle was scarlet, and my lightest was that posy. Out of that or the pink trio. All right, so here were those little, I would say like little lions is what they are, but like little ropes to connect your bulbs hanging down. These were so cute. The only thing that I always I had to make sure is that I was getting them like straight up and down and they weren't curving a little bit or weren't going side to side. We didn't want it to look like the wind was blowing or anything. We wanted them straight up and down. So we're putting those on. I did put them in behind. I thought that that was the best look. I didn't want them. I wanted them to look like they were hanging from the tree. I guess you could go right up. You could go on the other side and go right up, but generally a lot of them were right at the, except for that middle one, was right at the spot of where the Christmas lights wrapped around the tree. So that's why I decided to put them in the back. Oh, here we go. See, I'm making the decision to pull that off. I know I was like, come on, just do it the right way. And for the most part, it peeled off pretty nicely. And like I said, again, I knew that I was putting one directly back on it. So I knew I could cover up anything that, wouldn't be there. Another way to cover that back up would be, to put that back on there and then put like little rhinestones on there or something to cover up anything. But yeah, so you can see I changed to a lighter green. This is so cute though. Like it literally looks like it's wrapping around the tree. It's so cute. I love it. I'm going to definitely have to play with this because like I said, I didn't put the little Christmas lights on there. But it does come with dies to put all of the Christmas lights around this. And I think that would be so adorable. A little time consuming, but definitely an adorable touch to any card pretty much. All right. Let's get this on the card base. So we're going to take all of our foam pieces off or foam backings off. I guess I probably could have cut this. Sorry, guys. And get that put right on our card base. You definitely want to get that all lined up like that. I usually just set it right down on my glass board and use the bottom. All right. Look at how cute that is. And it's just like not the traditional, blue sky, I guess, or night sky or sunset or I don't know. I was thinking like early morning Christmas with a pink sky type thing. All right, so we're going to put on our Christmas bulbs. I literally just I glued them right to the back. I mean, I wasn't going to pop these. You could pop them up on foam tape. You could have. You definitely could have. I didn't. Maybe I was being a little lazy. I don't know. But I didn't. I could have gotten I honestly, I did probably have foam circles that I could have gotten out and popped them up. But I guess I just didn't even think about it, honestly, at this point. Mainly because they were in the back of the tree. Like, I don't know. One thing I am going to do here, you're going to see in the end, though, we are going to use some glossy accents on those to make them look even more like Christmas bulbs. All right, let's put our cute little bunnies down. I love it. See, I'm still going to finish. I'm going to rip a little bit of foam tape off of there. Like it's not fitting quite perfectly. Sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you don't. All right, there we go. How freaking adorable. I love how this card came out. All right. So the last part of this is I'm going to get my gray marker out. Looks like I needed to pop. Oh, I was a little bit afraid of his little ear, I think, getting crushed. So I definitely wanted to pop that up with a little bit of foam tape. Yeah, I was afraid that ear was going to get crushed if you were to send this out. So definitely think about that. If you're hand delivering your cards, you don't have to worry about all that. But if it's going through the mail, you definitely want to do. Anyway, I got that gray marker back out because they needed a little bit of grounding. They were kind of floating a little bit. So I got that out. And here comes my glossy accents. I love this stuff. Again, another thing that I use a ton on my Christmas cards that I really should like incorporate into a lot of my other cards. But it does go on a little bit like milky, but just let it sit there and dry. And I know that is the hardest part. You're going to see me. I don't sit there and let it dry. And I put my freaking finger back through it. I always put my finger in it. But try and let it sit there and dry. It takes, depending on how thick you put it on, for the most part, it takes like 15-ish minutes. If you put it on thinner, this one I did put on a little bit thick because I wanted that like dome look. So I did try and move on with other things, like the card base, stamped my little personalized stamp on the back. And then we are going to use one of the sentiments out of this Christmas bunny kit. You're going to see. I always just put this right back into my Misty, just in case I need to double stamp it. Misties are a godsend. Do that. And I believe this one, I can't remember what this one says. We'll read it here in a minute. I am using my VersaFine ink. Hope your stocking is stuffed with love and happiness this Christmas. I love that. Anyways, I do use my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I just love that ink, but definitely remember it is a pigment ink, so let it dry a little bit. And here we go. I'm going to put right about here, I'm going to put my finger right back. See, right there. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such a loom. Put my finger back in it. So you're going to see the glossy accents come back out so you can't see my finger. I think I ended up putting it on the star and on the little baubles on the tree too. So, all right, guys, I'm going to finish this up. Definitely do not forget to go check out Brass and Bliss and let them know how their release is going. And I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.